سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح هدايا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا عليم. اللهم إنا نسألك الإخلاص في القول والعمل. اللهم اجعل ما نتعلمه حجة لنا لا علينا يا رب العالمين. بارك الله فيكم. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward you for coming, and أسأل الله عز وجل أن يجعل هذا في ميزان حسنات الجميع. Because of the time, I will start. And actually, the last slide about the myth, that could help a lot, because what I will speak about today is part of lots of people. They mention what we can do. And after this 1 year, still some people, they don't know where they can fit and what we can do. I will mention what I will speak about is about the lobby, the Israeli lobby, and how they work. And I will mention 6 of the famous way of them try to take the support and how we can answer it. This is roughly, inshallah, what I will get quickly with the time. Why I would like to mention that, just because for anyone, when there is a case and you would like to support the case, starting with the wa'i, we need to understand, like what the Ustad he mentioned before, we need to understand the context and we need to understand what's happening there. And it's very important today. The lobbying, they said they lost the generation. They mean the Z or Generation Z. It's very important for us to understand. If we understand what they're claiming and their claims and how we answer it, that inshallah could help us to build our case and to speak about our narrative. So their narrative, and I would like to start with that. I would like to just start with one point. If we'd like, and most of it I will ask and I would like you to answer. If we'd like to start with, what's the definition of, or how we can describe the Zionist? So who is the Zionist? Fascist, that's pretty accurate, but more than that.
The original Zionists were Christians. Christianity.
Yeah, Christianity.
The original Zionists
So,
were Christians.
Is it every Christian?
No, not every, but the original Zionists were Christians who wanted the Jews out of Europe. So they encouraged this movement to have this nationalistic movement to get the Jews out of Europe.
What they try to achieve?
Because they're anti-Semitic. They are basically anti-Semitic. And these people jumped on the bandwagon and then started to colonize that land.
Yeah. So
with the help of the West.
Yeah. So it's the people, they think Israel has a right on that land, regardless of their religion.
We're using the Bible.
Yeah, regardless of their religion, because today, by today's standard, the people of the Zionism or the Zionist is not necessary to be Jewish or Christian. So you will find some people from the Jewish, they are Zionist. You will find the Christian from different sectors, from Catholic all the way to the Angelic, all of them, you will find of them Zionist. And as well you will find some of the Muslim, they are Zionist. So this is something very important to start with. We don't want to connect between a religion and the idea of the Zionist. And like what you mentioned, the idea of the Zionist to start with is a racist movement. It is something to do with the colonialism. Very close to a white supremacist ideas, and it's continued. This is the historical way. I don't want to touch it a lot, so I would like to mention, inshallah, or I would like to speak about I will start with the lobbying and what their narrative. the narrative of the lobbying. They start always, the first one and is the famous one, they start always with what we call the al-madlumiyya. The idea of there is a great unjust happening for the Jewish in Holocaust, therefore they deserve a place to stay and they choose Palestine. Because there is a Holocaust. And actually you mentioned Naomi, he mentioned himself when he was speaking about his mother, and he said to his mother, is it good to find a place? He said, it's fine, it will be good if they have place where they feel safe. So they claiming that there is unjust happen for the Jewish, so they deserve to have a piece of land to stay in it as a safe and sound. This is the first narration, or the first myth, let's call it, from their narrative. How we can counter that? Yeah, that's a question I would like to hear from you.
You countered by saying Zionism, movements to move the Jews to that land, predates the Holocaust. Holocaust happened in the 1930s and 40s, but this movement had already started in the late 18th century. So this myth that the Jews have to move there because of the Holocaust is a totally false.
No, but before the Holocaust, they said that they had to move there because of the anti-Semitism that they were experiencing for 1,000 years in Europe.
Yes.
So it's still the Madlumiyya. The Holocaust is part of that, because they said there is anti-Semitic and just because of the time as well. One of the way we can speak, what you mentioned is part of it. Yeah, definitely we can speak about it. But the other part we can speak about it. And by the way, if you mention every myth, I will mention some of the people they use in it. If you mention Netanyahu now, he starts changing a bit of his tone and he starts saying something else. Because their idea, lie, after that people, they will believe you. So this one, we could say what's that to do with Palestine? Who's the people they oppressed you? Is the West. The anti-Semitic, it used to be the West movement. The people they try to kick you out of their country is the West. The people they done the Holocaust is the West. Why Palestine? It's part of the equation here. Actually, why the whole Muslim world is part of the equation here. Especially the Jewish, through the history of Islam, they lived in the Muslim land, and there is no any anti-Semitic happen, and there is no any massacre or Holocaust happen to them. Starting, they used to be in Medina. After that, they moved to Sham. They stay until just recently. You will find them in Morocco, you find them in Tunisia, you find some of them in Egypt, you find some of them in Yemen. Until today, by the way, in Yemen, some of them, they didn't move. Until today, there is in Yemen. You find them in Iraq and Syria, some of them in Palestine. And they used to live as a normal people. So it's very important to realize this idea, the madlumiyya, the dhulm, the injustice, the oppressed, didn't come from the Muslim world. And definitely didn't come from Palestine. So therefore, that shouldn't be something to speak what's happening there in Palestine. If you feel you have a right of a land because there are some people oppressed you, take it from Germany. This is the people they oppressed you, take it there. Let them give you Munich or something like that. They have some biggest country in Europe. You can take some part of it. And even, by the way, that will be unjust. Yeah, I'm not saying that, but that will be unjust. Well, there is America. Now they support them. They can take some part of it. So why Palestine? That's this one of the way why we can speak about it. You will find now, this is something just Netanyahu, he said, actually, Hitler, he doesn't want to kill the Jews, but Al-Husseini, he's the one he suggested to kill Yahud, and it's the thing. And this is historical. It's not like, there is no any evidence on it. It's just a talk. However, even if Al-Husseini done it or did it, hold him accountable for it. Not holding the whole people of Palestine accountable. And now we're speaking about 10% of the people of Gaza, and even now is nearly 11% of the people of Gaza, they died. 11% of the people of Gaza, we have that number. Yeah, so this is something, it's just in 1 year. This is the first one. Anybody would like to add something? I think as well we have the time. Right, the second one they speaking about it, they mention always the historical rights. They said historically they have the right upon Palestine because they lived on it 3,000 years ago. You heard that a lot. A lot you have the thing, especially the American president. They use that a lot. How we can speak about that, how we can counter that? Yeah. Palestinian is they come from the Jews. We need DNA for that. We need to prove it. We can't prove it. Yes.
Canaanites were there before the Jews actually went. How Israel, when Joshua was told to conquer the land, he conquered the land of Philistine. So that if they were saying that they were there first, Canaanites were there before them. So the Philistines were the original people there that were conquered in the first place from them. So if they take 3,000 years, if you go even further than 3,000 years, the original people that were there were the Philistines.
Ahsant, barakallahu feek, Habib. So the answer of that is two sides. The first one, they say, they have the right for it. Who give you this right? They said our book. So perfect. That book is the Muslim. They claiming their book. They have the right of it. The Christian, they have the right of it. So why one book more? We need to follow it more than the other. That's one count. So you can't take the Bible or the thing it's taken. Especially there is some rabbis like the Shapiro rabbi. He say no. With the Torah we shouldn't go back there. So that one side. The second side of it, the historical, like what Habib mentioned. Why are we going back to 3,000? Why we don't go back for 5,000? So with historical one is not anybody he lived for a while in that area, he deserves it. Otherwise, why America today, there's people, they live in it. They should all move back to their country and we give it to? Exactly. It doesn't mean there is some people, they lived in a one time, they deserve it for forever. That's the second one. The third one, and I'm just, again, I'm aware of the time. The third one, they always, and that one, you hear it a very, like, what I will mention this one, every American president, he said it, especially from Carter coming in. So Carter, he said it. Bush the father, he mentioned it. Clinton, he mentioned it several times, actually. Bush the son, he said it lots, and Obama used it a lot, and the last two as well, if you consider them as people as well to take even they more crazy people the last two. So they mention always Israel is the only democracy in that region, so we need to support it. How we can counter that?
There isn't democracy for everyone. It's only democracy for the Jewish inhabitants of that land. The Arabs, Palestinians, they're second-class citizens. They don't have the same rights. They don't have the same civil rights.
That one I will come for it with the points. Just it will come after that. Yes. That actually is a really good one, and this is what I would like to say. It's not like that. What type of democracy do you speak about? Because, for example, Malaysia is democratic country. Norway is democratic country. America is US is democratic country. UK, they say we are under the democracy, and France under the democracy. Is it all exactly the same? Each one of them, totally different. Each one of them, and all of them, they claim they are democratic. And if we will go for democracy, democracy, in fact, it is the way how the people, they choose their ruler. That doesn't mean it has a value. So it's not something to do with the value. There is nothing to do with the value to try to say, we need to praise it, and that is something. This is a way for the people to choose the ruler. And the people is not necessarily they have a value to choose. The proof of that, who choose the Nazist? They choose by people. People, they choose the Nazist. Who choose the fascist? People, they choose the fascist. This is being chosen by the people. The same like democracy. And we know what's the consequence of that. So, the democracy is not a value for us to say, if you are democratic value, that means you are somebody we will choose. And when we speak about it, democracy is like the one he's generous from somebody else. If there is, for example, if I come and I steal from the sheikh 10,000 and I give it sadaqah for the masjid, and he take me to the judge, can the judge he say, no, he done really? If the sheikh he ask and say, I need my money back, the judge he say, yeah, but he give it sadaqah for the masjid, that's really good cause. If this is a good counter? So Israel lives democracy or no is unrelative. What they doing in the land, that's not their land to start with. To be democratic country or to be not democracy or something, this is unrelative here. Yeah? If that's the thing. So there is two things here. That democracy by itself, like what you mentioned, is it good or no, is not something, is not value. It's a way of the people how they choose their ruler. That's number one. Number two is you can't be democratic or the thing with the other people country. That's the third one. The fourth one, and you mentioned there is a very famous presenter, because I'm in the masjid, I'm not mentioning his name. I think you mentioned his name. Yeah, I think he mentioned his name. I'm not repeating his name. I usually refer to him with the waste man. You will be a bit surprised because I refer to Netanyahu. For me, I have respect for Netanyahu more than him. At least Netanyahu, he's clear and he say what's the thing. But the other one is he changed his tone with who pay more. So it's like he's the old phone of, the old phone. I think that's the man. So I'm not mentioning him. But he mentioned this argument a lot. He say Israel is the only advanced country in the region. And he used it as well. Now he changed the rule. Just last week he say is the only alliance for the West in that region. When we would like to speak, if they the only advanced, like developed country in the region, how we can counter that? I will tell you just again because of the time. What's the benefit of the country to be developed? Why we would like to develop any country? For the human, isn't it?
Benefit the citizens.
Exactly, the citizen. In the beginning, the end is the people in it. So, if the country is very developed, but they don't respect the human, what's the benefit of this development? There is no benefit if you become one of the best country and you don't respect the people. And that's how they speak about China today, isn't it? They have big problem with China, and China is now it's well developed, and they have problem with it because they said they don't deal with their people. So it's exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you have all the material and the people on the land. These people, they are killing machine. They have no respect to any other people, including their people. Have you seen anybody since 1948, a black man in any cabinet of Israeli cabinet. Have you seen anybody from the flasher? He took any place in the leading in the any Israeli party or anything to do with that? No. That between them. Let alone when you speak about the Palestinian. Because we know there is, they call the Arab 48, the people, the Palestinian people, they have the passport, the Israeli passport. If you are a Muslim, you're not allowed to serve in the army. But if you are Durzi, you are allowed to be in the army. So even the religion side, even between the Arab, they have the difference. You can understand how, so it's everything is to do with that thing. So they have no respect for any human. Actually, they come with the most, like that thing, nobody do it. That's including China, including even North Korea, the one they say is dictatorship. They don't do that. Yet when they come to Israel, they said, no, that's allowed. That's the, which number this one? 4, yeah? How many we mentioned so far? Under their narrative, the first one is the Mazlumiyya, which is the unjust happened with the Holocaust. The second one? No, before democracy, we mentioned?
The right of return.
Exactly, the right is the right of the land. And the third one, democracy. And the fourth one, we mentioned? Yeah, the advance of the development. And I would finish with the 2. They mention that as well a lot. Actually, if you go to the website of the foreign secretary, the foreign secretary of the United States, you will find in their website they say why America is alliance with Israel and they have good relationship, because they said we share the values. We share the same values. Actually, brothers, this is something we can counter really easy. Actually, there is nothing to do. They don't share any values in that sense. The only value they share, they all have the colonialism mindset and they all white supremacists. That's the only value they share. But in real life, you will find, if you go for the American First Amendment, the second, what always they're proud of, it's actually exactly the opposite than what Israel mentioned. For example, they always say everybody's equal in America. At least that's what they try to say. Everybody's equal. That's not the situation in Israel. طيب? They mentioned as well in lots of time, they said the equality between the people, man and women. That's not the situation in Israel. That's not the situation in Israel. So actually Israel, it's built on, there is a levels of people. And as well, America, they said, we are not a religious country. We are, religious is, is not the Christianity ruling the country. The people, they're religious, but they are secular country. Israel, they say, no, we are a Jewish state. And they don't accept that from any country in the world. Therefore, when Taliban, they mention we would like to be an Islamic state, they say, oh, that's too bad. And they didn't accept that. But yet they accepted it from Israel to call themselves a Jewish state. So even that is not the situation. I finish with the last one, and after that I will mention quickly 2 points, inshallah. The last thing I would like to mention here, the idea, I think the myth you mentioned about they always, whoever come to counter, they scare him. They say, you are anti-Semitic. So straight away, anybody will say anything, they say anti-Semitic. In fact, even with the UN before, they announced until the 90s, the Zionism is a racist movement. So it doesn't mean if you have problem with the Zionism and if you say that Zionism is a racist movement, that's nothing to do with the anti-Semitic. And the proof of that, they lived between the Arab and the Muslim for for century, and none of the Muslim, they are targeting the Jewish because they are Jewish. We don't have in the history, we know history, any Jewish man being killed because he is Jewish in the Muslim land. If there is an odd happen here and there, but that never happened. So the Muslim, they not having a problem like what you mentioned about the myth. The Muslim, they don't have any problem with the Jewish. They have problem with the Israeli and the Zionism, the Zionist. And this is totally different. Because the Zionists and the Israeli, they have different agenda to wipe the Muslimin and the Arab from that land. So it's quite important to don't accept the idea of the anti-Semitism, and always we need to challenge it, because the definition they put it very wide to fit whatever they would like. And for us is even the UN, they said this is a racist movement, so that's not something we would like to accept and something we need to resist. This is 6 point is the famous with their narrative, and it's how we can counter, and we should push the limit with that a lot. In our social media, we should mention that. We should write an article to speak about their narrative. Brothers and sisters, why I mention this narrative? Because the war now is the wars of the wa'i. It's people, they need to know that. 2008, there is an author, he wrote a book. Just try to mention his name. Subhanallah. It's called something Wallet, 2008. He mentioned clearly, he said it's until now in America, most of the people of America, they think the war in Palestine is just because they have problem with the Jewish people. And you mentioned as well that it's one of the most famous, somebody, he's well educated, he have PhD, he been everywhere, lots of Muslimin, they listen to him, especially when we come for counting the feminism, and that is a famous PhD holder. And he was very ignorant to say the Muslim, they are just jealous out of the Jewish. It's not something, you wouldn't expect that from somebody, he just can write and read and write. Not somebody he have PhD with his capacity. But that shows the people, they don't know. Subhanallah, last year, that's changed a lot. Because people, they start know, and this is our job to educate people around that a lot. The last one I would like to mention, and I will finish with this point. Do you know ABAC? Do you know the ABAC? If you haven't heard about ABAC, please raise your hand. In America, the American one. It's the lobby, the brochure lobby. It's the Israeli support brochure lobby. It's the most famous one. Do you know how much the budget for it every year? By the way, they control the election. Jimmy Carter, the president, he say they are in control of all the senators like babysitters. He said that, like babysitters. Exactly like babysitters. They told them exactly what to do. Do you know how much their budget? Have a guess. 3 billion. No, way less than that.
It's about $1 billion, isn't it? Just under $1 billion.
Just under the billion. Somebody mention other name. Yes, young man. 100 million or billion? Million. Billion.
Million.
100 billion, that's a lot. Yeah, actually, if you put million, that's the right one. It's 100 million a year. That's their budget. 100 million. Just a quick, and I will finish. How much the zakah of the American Muslim, just American Muslim in America, every year. This number is come from Indiana University, 2021. So just kind of recently. Yes? 1 million? That's one trader. 1.8 billion. 1.8 billion. 18 times of ABAC budget. That's yearly, brothers. Just if there is some people, they understand the wisdom behind the zakah. Look how much we can make difference. I mentioned this one because I actually, to start with, the first counters is what they called it backs. We could do lobbying and we can change lots of that. Do you know Heli, the one she went to Israel and she wrote her name, one of the rockets in this war? Nikki Haley.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know her? Do you know how much they give her for that? 1 million. She went all there and she went in all media for 1 million. We have an authentic narrative. If we can utilize some of our zakah and some of the sadaqat with the right way, with the right mindset, you don't need to take people and you pay them. You can take people to Rafah to see what's happening there. If you take people to Rafah, they will see what's happening. And all what you need is just the authentic. You don't need to lie. You don't need to say anything. You have a narrative. It doesn't need to narrator. People, they see it and they will believe it. Because we have the right narrative, but unfortunately, we don't have the right narrators. Today, I just would like to mention about the narrative and what we can change and how we can counter. I think that's my time. I don't want to take more time. Barakallah.
سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهدى يا صاحي